I'm Suzy, and this is the Coaching Cast. We are the no-nonsense podcast chatting about things impacting you at work right now, helping you to survive and thrive in today's ever-changing workplace.
We discuss different topics each episode, sharing our ideas, hints, and top tips from our experiences of working in the corporate world, running our own businesses, and also being qualified coaches. We also try to have a few laughs along the way too, because taking yourself too seriously is just boring. We really hope you enjoy listening. So, for anyone watching, you may have noticed that today's episode is a little bit different from the usual, and that is because today is our festive special. We are going to be getting into the festive mood on the Coaching Cast, sprinkling some laughter around and some seasonal cheer with a garnish of mistletoe or presents or Christmas puddings. So stay with us, CBBBs, and enjoy. Fabulous. So before we get stuck into today's extra Christmassy seasonal special, Suze, tell me, how have you been?
I'm good, it's Christmas!
I think we look like Christmas is like vommed all over us.
We look
Christmas outfits.
Attire. We look extra today.
This is the most extra I've ever been. So CBBs, if you're listening and you're not watching, I strongly urge you to run to the YouTube channel and view our latest episode. You've got to watch this bad boy because it's all about the visual contribution that this episode is giving. So I've got my favourite Christmas jumper of all time on, which is my festive pud jumper. And I've got my Christmas present on my head. And Suzy's looking super glamorous as always, obviously never lets us down.
I'm not sure about that, but I'll take it. Thank you very much.
With the sequins, we've got sequins, there's some tinsel I think going on in the hair.
Yeah, I've got a red lip on as well.
Lip. The red lip is strong.
We've talked about a red lip before and the hazards of red lip. So probably at some point during this episode, it will end up on my teeth and also on my
face
cast mug, which we've not talked much about this season, actually.
Oh, the merch.
But it's still going strong, the merch. So yeah, but no, I'm good, thank you. What's been happening? Well, first off, my Christmas tree's gone missing.
What?
Yeah. So last year, me and my husband were like, the Christmas tree is looking a bit sad. Like, I think we need to invest in a new Christmas tree. So we have an artificial Christmas tree because we have a dog, and he once when we went around to a friend's house who had a real Christmas tree, he weed up against it.
Oh no, I always worry that the dog is going to do that. Alfie, our dog, has never done that with our Christmas tree, but I never trust him around it. That's hilarious. Marley did that at a friend's house. Oh my God.
I know. So he wasn't invited back. And also I am a bit like, I like my house being tidy. The needle situation, the pine drop would stress me out. I'd be on that Dyson Hoover. I'm already on it quite obsessively. I would be like next level if I had a real tree.
The needles are annoying.
So anyway, we decided we were going to get a new artificial Christmas tree this year because, as I said, the one last year we'd had our we'd like redecorated our lounge and it just looked a bit sad in the corner, like it wasn't quite the right size anymore. Anyway, so we were like, yeah, we'll order a new Christmas tree. So we did order a new Christmas tree a few weeks ago, and it's been lost in transit. It's not arrived. So the lights arrived, but with no tree. Okay, so I didn't get all my Christmas decorations down. I haven't started decorating my house yet because I was like, well, there's no point because I've got a new tree coming. Found out yesterday that the tree is lost in transit and is no more and is now out of stock. So
oh no.
I think my sad little tree is coming back down out of the loft later. And
well, thank God you didn't get rid of it.
I know.
I mean, your brand new tree is obviously being flogged out the back of the van somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's not going to be seen again, I don't think. So, yeah. So my Christmas tree's gone missing.
We're not getting one, so don't even start me. Yeah, we're not getting a tree because we're not going to be here for Christmas. So
Okay.
we tend to not bother if we're going to be away. I know, what a surprise, says every CBB listening, Lisa's going to be away again. But I'm not actually, I'm only going down to the coast to my hometown. I'm heading down to Folkestone for Christmas.
Hometown.
In my hometown. Yes, I'm just going down there. So I'm not going abroad. I'm just driving down south. So the house we're renting might have a tree, I'm assuming. But yeah, we don't have a tree, therefore, here in the Cotswolds. We decided it. No point. We're just not going to be here very much.
Well, that's fair enough. So yeah, so I've got no Christmas tree, but I have got outside lights on. So my house outside looks very festive. Inside, there's not a sign of any tinsel anywhere at the moment.
So you decorate your house from outside as well. You're one of them.
I am one of them.
God, I've never done that before. I've never decorated my house from the outside.
Well,
my parents might have decorated houses that I lived in when I was a kid, but I can't remember that.
I say decorate. Like my husband's put some lights up.
Hey, that's big. That's big for me. Okay. We don't do anything. This is like Ebenezer Scrooge's house. You wouldn't even know Christmas was happening over here.
It's a festive special. Come on.
I've made up for the fact that the house may not be decorated, but I am. So, that's fine. I'll dress up. I'll make it Christmas here. So yeah.
And then I also went to a Santa parade on Saturday. So we're recording this on Tuesday, so the weekend just gone. We went to a Santa parade in our local town, which I have to say was hilarious from an adult perspective. From a child perspective, my 3-year-old, because he's really into Christmas this year. So the first year where he's really starting to kind of get the whole elf on the shelf situation. You might not do it. It is annoying because you have to.
So you are doing elf on the shelf.
We are doing elf on the shelf.
Oh God, that looks stressful.
And then all the admin that comes with like school nursery situation around Christmas, like it is a lot. Just don't get me wrong, it is a lot. But anyway, he's really getting into it this year for the first time. Anyway, so we took him to the like Christmas light turn, like switch on. And there was a Santa parade that went with it, okay, in the local town. Oh my goodness. So I was just like, is that it? Like, but also I was like, what? I'm confused. And how can you be confused by a Santa parade? Like I was. Basically, so Santa was in a sleigh and fine. And he was being pulled along by a Kia car. Okay, a white Kia car through the streets of my local town. And I was just like, why is he being pulled through by a Kia? And then my husband was like, well, do you not remember last year? He was actually pulled, we came like watched this before, and he was pulled by a Bentley last year. I was like, a Bentley? I'd like totally forgotten this. But also that contrasting car, like it obviously Santa is cutting back like a lot of us, the cost of living crisis.
I was just about to say, it's very reflective of the time. He doesn't, he's also, as you said, he's had to cut back. He couldn't afford the Bentley this year.
Absolutely. But it was just a bit odd because I was like watching Santa being pulled along in a sleigh by a Kia, and the lady, bless her, who was driving it, she looked absolutely petrified because the streets are quite narrow where I live, and people are like, hundreds of people are like lining these streets, and there's cars on one side as well. It was quite tight. She looked petrified. I was like, I'm so glad I'm not doing that like that. She had no idea, I don't think, what she was getting involved in.
Well, she was probably relieved she was driving a Kia this year and not the Bentley.
Yes. And then it was just like this little like there was a band that went with it. They were playing carols. That was lovely. And then that was it. And I was just like, oh, it was kind of been and gone within about 1 minute. And I was like, I've just queued for like and waited for about an hour for this to happen. I was like, oh, okay, it was just a bit underwhelming, I suppose. And
what was Arthur's reaction?
Well, he obviously is still getting his head around Santa, like, and Father Christmas, that Christmas is coming, but it's not here yet. So he's not really got the whole thing around, like he's seeing Father Christmas on the TV, or he's seeing Father Christmas like when he's out and about, like at Santa parades, but that it's not actually Christmas Day yet. So we had to say he was just coming for a little visit, and then he was going back to the North Pole to be with the owls because he's not finished making all the toys yet for the good boys and girls. So the power of Father Christmas in December is unbelievable as a parent. I've not really had the opportunity to kind of like maximize this before, again, because he didn't really understand it until this year. But the threat that Santa is watching, it has immense power in terms of parenting, I've found. So it's like, well, Santa is watching, so you need to eat your dinner up. Santa is watching, so you need to eat your breakfast up. It's mainly around eating because he's a bit of a nightmare. He's so fussy. So yeah, the power of Santa, I'm going to miss that come January, I'll be honest.
But as I said, it's very creepy when you say Santa's watching. I'm frightened, so I'm like, is he? Where?
I haven't taken it to the next level yet. You know, when you can take it when you have like those indoor like cameras and there's the red light and it, like you can like, that's him there, he's watching there. I haven't taken it to that level yet because I think that will creep him out, but I've just been like, he's watching all around. But yeah, so that's just like my little festive update. Anyway, firstly, how are you? And secondly, you need to tell everyone where you've been because it's immense.
Again. Everyone hates me. I'm like, constantly moving around. Yeah, I've just come back from New York. I flew back yesterday.
New York.
Yeah, so
Love it.
I literally been in the centre of Christmas. Obviously, for children, the centre of Christmas is obviously where Santa lives in the North Pole. Or is he in the South Pole? Which pole does he live at?
Oh, good question. I thought it was the North Pole.
Well, we'll stick with that because that's what I said first, but then I doubted myself as soon as I said it. But from an adult perspective, Christmas lives in New York, so
absolutely.
Yeah, no, it was very Christmassy everywhere, as you would expect.
Yeah,
you know, turning on of the Rockefeller tree and ice skating rinks everywhere. No, it was, crazy. I went to Macy's and Bloomingdale's, and Macy's was just covered in Christmas. All the light displays. Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was really good. Yeah.
Were there any Santas being pulled along by Kias?
No.
Oh, wow.
I actually didn't see any Christmas parades. I don't think there were any scheduled for my trip. So I didn't see any Santas. So they may have been being pulled around by some small budget car. But I didn't see them. And let's be honest, in America, that don't really happen. He'd be more likely being pulled around by a ginormous truck. So
yeah.
Or real reindeer, because they love going extra in America. But yes, I didn't actually see Santa the whole time I was there. Obviously not, because he was visiting your local area.
Absolutely.
He can't be in two places at exactly the same time. I mean, there was obviously the 5-hour time difference in New York, so
yeah,
he could have been visiting you before he came across to see me briefly, but not on this occasion. He was too committed to the village town parade, wherever you were, and the sorting that Kia out. Maybe the Kia broke down and he had to go and fix it. That's why he couldn't come and see me.
Maybe the Kia can only go so far, and he just couldn't get from Cheshire to New York.
He couldn't get to New York, let's be fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, New York was amazing. It was definitely one to get into the spirit. So I mean, it was great preparation for today's festive episode. I was all over Christmas by the time I landed. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to record the festive episode of the coaching car. No, should we get chatting? Should we get stuck into our Christmas party? Because this is what this is today, people. It's the Coaching Cast Christmas party. Let's do this. So, CBBs, as you may have guessed, today's episode is a little bit different because it's Christmas and we are officially switching on the festive season. So, we all love a bit of nostalgia and stories of a good work Christmas party. So, to kick us off, we're going to share a few of our favourites. Suzy, come on. You must have some good ones.
Some good Christmas party stories?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I do actually.
I've got to remember mine.
Well, that is true as well, because I was thinking about this and I was thinking like, yeah, actually, can I remember like the details of some of these? So I have been to some great Christmas parties in my time. I've equally been to some really bad work Christmas parties in my time as well. But there is a story which sticks out in my mind, which it was just a really random situation. So I worked for a big organisation in London. This is about, when was this? This is nearly 10 years ago now. So this is quite a long time ago. And the part of the business that I worked in was actually being sold to some new owners. So actually it was kind of leaving the business and the organization and actually going to be set up completely as a separate company. And we ended up having a Christmas party with people who were also staying in the existing business. So it was like a blend of people who were exiting the business to go and move and be part of the new one, and those who were staying. Oh my God, it was like a divorce party. It was so random, right? So it was in an amazing location. So it was at the Natural History Museum in London.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
It was stunning as a location, and it was all like fairy lights. There was lots of bubbles on the floor, like it was a dance floor. Like basically, I remember just dancing next to like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Like it was really random. Everybody was kind of like dressed in the nines. It was a really lovely event, but it took a bit of a weird turn because the two kind of CEOs, so the one that was departing to set up the new business and the one that was remaining to kind of carry on the existing one, ended up like on the stage doing kind of like individual like speeches, like I suppose like leaving speeches or speeches to like thank people for their efforts and dedication stuff for the year, which was fine. But they firstly went on a bit too long. Secondly, they did them quite late in the evening, so everybody's had quite a lot to drink by this point. And it started going a bit sideways because people started like heckling them and like booing them, and people started cheering for one over the other when the other one got on. And then they started doing this kind of like weird kind of verbal kind of, I don't know, like not argument. It wasn't an argument. It was kind of like tussle, this kind of weird verbal tussle. It was like they were getting divorced and they were having this kind of party to mark their kind of separation from each other. And it was
so weird,
the weirdest vibe. So that was really, really odd. And loads of people were just like, did that just happen? Like, what just happened there? That was really odd. That was really strange. So that was quite odd. And then another story I've got, which is quite funny, is I was at a Christmas party a few years ago. I don't know if you were at this one. I'm not sure. And the CEO of that organization, no, sorry, not the CEO, the marketing director of that organization got onto the dance floor, well, like quite early in the evening with the head of legal, and they did this weird like Strictly Come Dancing like tango together in front of everybody on the dance floor, which we all had to stand and watch, and then like clap at the end. And it was the awkwardest thing I've ever watched in my life. But also it was quite early on in the evening, like the music hadn't started yet, like we had just finished our meal, like our sit down meal, and everyone was like, what's going, but it was like I think it was meant to be part of the entertainment. And that was really strange as well. Like really strange things happen, don't they, at Christmas parties?
Really strange things happen at Christmas parties. That, I mean, I've got some stories, but that one is bizarre. That's just weird. What did everyone do? Was there like some sort of like awkward clapping going on?
Yeah. So people just sort of like stood around like this dance floor. It was like something from Strictly Come Dancing. Like, and I love Strictly, don't get me wrong. But yeah, they just kind of took to the floor, and then the kind of guy on the mic was like, and here is such and such and such and such about to do it. It was either a tango or a rumba. Like it was something like that. Like, I'm now going to do a rumba for you, for example. And we were just like, what? And then they got up and just did this whole choreographed routine. And I think it ended with one of them having like a rose in their mouth. Like it was really odd. Like it was really, really odd and awkward. Yeah, so that was quite strange. And I mean, yeah, there's just the whole usual, like, yeah, it's like someone who has too many drinks, gets a bit loud, gets a bit leery. Like, you always have one of them at a work's Christmas party, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's me.
Well, I didn't want to say.
that's where I have to be careful about my Christmas stories that I share now, because I'm thinking, I think that might have been me. No, I never got loud and leery. I just would be the person who's like stumbling all over the place and falling on the floor, because I am like Bambi when it comes to one, wearing heels, and two, wearing heels and getting drunk. So I've definitely had moments of spending a lot of time sat on floors and being picked up off floors, which is not not that great. But God, I don't think I can share a lot of my Christmas party stories, to be honest. There was the one year that I went sober to a work Christmas party and decided that I was going to drive because it was just a bit too far from where I lived, and I wasn't prepared to pay for accommodation. And I think it was a year where the business wasn't subsidizing accommodation, which is very unusual actually, especially for the business I worked for at the time, because they used to be extremely generous when it came to parties, social gatherings that they organise, especially the Christmas do. And not everyone, you know, they organised it fairly locally, but not everyone lived near that particular venue, clearly. So yeah, I think I remember driving because it was really far from where I lived. And I never did that again. I was like, even at the time, I was like, why am I here sober? Like, I don't do any social situation sober. So why did I do this one sober? And I could definitely feel like I'd done it as some sort of like taking the moral high ground and then regretted it immediately. Especially because I had so many people there who were really drunk, and it's just the worst being anywhere when you're stone cold sober and other people are pissed, especially at a work do, because it just becomes even more awkward than normal when all of a sudden people are talking to you and you're like, oh God, this is the worst. So yeah, although it did mean that I got to witness a lot of things as the only sober person, and I remembered everything I saw. So that was quite cool. But some of it I would think is only stomachable when you're pissed. I don't want to see a lot of those things again sober. So yeah, I did. That was probably my most bizarre Christmas party. The Christmas party where I decided to be the Desi driver and was sober.
I can't believe that.
I know.
Because you have really bad FOMO.
I have massive FOMO. I still went, but just as the sober person. So yeah, never again. So I made up for it the preceding year. But yeah, I mean, oh God, come on. I mean, you know who I am. I started working straight out of university. Those early years of working, I was still at university in my head and still behaved like a student. So those Christmas parties are just not to be talked about really ever again. So I'm not going into detail on those. Because they were messy, to say the least. But then I think some of the Christmas parties, weirdly, I did 3 Christmas parties. Not weirdly, there's nothing weird about this. I did 3 Christmas parties when we worked in the same organisation, and they were all so different. They were all at completely different venues as well, which I think says something. I remember the first one I ever went to. Well, yeah, it was a bit odd, but the food was terrible. I always remember that the food was so bad.
I know which one you mean.
It was so bad.
Yeah,
I can't remember, and it was so, there wasn't even vaguely anything festive or British.
Yeah, I know exactly.
It was a really weird spread. I just remember I barely ate anything at that one, which obviously didn't bode well.
Yeah.
Because it was revolting, and I'm not fussy, but it was disgusting.
I think I fell over at that one. I think I was dressed as a Christmas.
Oh yeah, because that was the other thing, wasn't it? Our organisation used to love a fancy dress theme. And I hate fancy dress. And part of me is like, you don't need to do a fancy dress for Christmas, because the fancy dress theme is Christmas. You only get to dress for Christmas like once every year. So why not allow us all to like get sparkly, dress up?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, that organisation loved a fancy dress.
I know.
And as I said, I hate fancy dress. So you're right. There was a theme at that one, wasn't it? Like, what was it? What did you dress up as that you think?
I can't remember.
There was that year that it was a Love Island theme. That was the worst Christmas party theme ever.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
That was the worst.
Yeah,
because that is, to me, is not a theme. Love Island. I'm not dressing up as in a bikini.
It's December, and I wouldn't dress up in a bikini anyway.
No, neither would I. I barely like getting in a bikini on a beach in a hot country. So, like, I'm not going to do it at, where was it? Was it like, you know, the Radisson Blu Hotel in Heathrow or something in December, and we're dressing up as Love Island? Apologies to anyone who used to work with Suzy and I, who knows exactly what I'm talking about, especially those of you who are involved in the organisation of said Christmas event. It's not personal. I like you, but that was a terrible Christmas party thing.
That's the night I lost my insulin pen.
It is your night that you lost your insulin pen. I was going to bring it up, and then I was like, maybe not. Where we both were drunk and wandering around and crawling all over the floor trying to find your insulin pen, and thinking that you were going to have to go to hospital because we couldn't find it.
That's really bad. And
you were like, my spare one is 5 hours away in Manchester or whatever. I.e. at home.
I think I remained quite calm.
You did. I wasn't. I think I was.
You were like
out.
hysterical, I think.
I wasn't hysterical. I was panicked. I was a bit like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm useless. Do you remember that was the one where we were laughing because what is it with again, I think this was a symptom of where we worked. But they loved a whole let's create a circle in the middle of the dance floor and get everyone to dance in the middle of it. That used to crap me up. Because again, I'm just to everyone who's listening, they'll be surprised to hear this. I am an exhibitionist, but only at certain points. And I wasn't going to be one of the people dancing in the middle. But that was always funny.
I know. It was hilarious. And the insulin pen did turn up, by the way.
Yeah, thank goodness,
don't worry. Somebody had very kindly handed it in. It's fallen out of my handbag.
So, Suzy, to build on this festive theme, I know you've got something pretty festive and special there.
Well, I do. Yes. No expense spared on the coaching cast. But we have got our coaching cast. Well, it was meant to be a stocking, but I couldn't get one in time.
Is this something else that got lost in the post?
So this is something else that got lost in the post. Yeah. So I've created our budget stocking. So this is the coaching cast stocking here. Shall we see what's inside?
Go for it.
Okay. Bear with me. I'm going to pull out a little present here. Okay. So this little present is, this is one of our favorite moments that we've picked of the coaching cast of 2022. And this is one that I've unwrapped here, which is one of my favorite moments actually from the coaching cast. And this was something that we featured in season 5, specifically episode 3. And that was our episode, very conveniently timed, what we're talking about here, around friendships at work. Because a lot of friendships are made or broken at a work Christmas party.
Oh, God.
So yeah, this is one of my favorite moments of this year on the coaching cast, and one of my favorite episodes. And the reason for that is because, well, I just love this topic. I've had a lot of feedback on this topic as well. It's one of our most popular episodes, and a lot of people enjoy listening when we talked about friendships at work. The reason being because I think it is something that often people do struggle with, around where do those boundaries sit. And actually, when you are friends with someone and then you suddenly start working with them either more closely or you start line managing them, that whole dynamic changes, and it can be quite challenging for some. And also there are some brilliant benefits as well. Like, you and I met at work,
we did.
We are now friends and work together, obviously, on this. So there's loads of really great things that can happen from friendships at work. But it was a topic which I personally just love talking about.
Yeah, it is a good one. I was actually out for dinner with one of my best friends a couple of weeks ago, who we met at work.
Oh, see?
Yeah, many years ago, 2005, I think we've known each other. So yeah, literally as I started out straight from university and went to work, I think. And she was one of my managers for a period of time. And yeah, she was bridesmaid at my wedding. So yeah, that's how strong that friendship is. We've had some cracking Christmas parties together as well.
Oh yeah, I bet you guys have.
So yeah, no, it is. I think it's also an episode that everyone can relate to.
Yeah.
Not all the topics we talk about on the coaching cast are necessarily relatable. It totally depends where you are in your career, what you do, what you've experienced so far. So it's a topic, though, I think, that can resonate with everybody, because all of us have the propensity to make friends, and we've all worked in places, and we've either made friends or we haven't. But I think everyone can listen to that episode and, as I said, find something they can relate to and hopefully learn something, if not. So yeah, that is a good one. And as you said, pointed out, it's good in terms of its relativity to us, because we did meet at work. And and we're still talking today. Bonded over saving you by looking for your insulin pump at that Christmas party.
There we go.
Love Island theme. I don't think I'm ever going to go with that. Why would you
know.
Bloody Love Island theme.
Love Island in December. Like, no.
Did people actually dress up in swimwear as well? They did, didn't they? There were people there in swimwear.
Is there? I can't remember.
Yeah, there were. I wasn't.
I just blanked it from my mind.
It's just so weird. There was a lot of inflatables. That's what I remember.
Yes, there were a lot of inflatables, like your pink flamingo.
Yeah, there was a lot of inflatable action and like fake palm trees, and it was just so weird. I'm such a traditionalist. I was like, it's Christmas, people. It's bloody Christmas. Yeah.
I think there was just a lot of props left over from the summer, and we wanted to utilize them.
Yeah, so, clearly. Yeah. Honestly. Go on then, pull us out another present from your stocking.
Okay, let's get another present then from this high quality festive edition. Okay, so this is one of mine as well, so I'm going to leave that one there. I'm going to pull another one out, so we've got a different one.
Take it out. Go on.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah, do it. We're doing it for real. This is
we're doing it organically.
Yeah, this is how it works.
Okay, so my next favorite coaching cast moment of 2022 is when we interviewed Bev Thorogood and we talked about managing menopause at work. Yes.
Yep.
So
that was season 4, right at the start of the year.
This was season 4, episode 4. So this was around February time. This episode came out. Well, I mean, I don't even know where to start in terms of why I love this episode so much this year with Bev. One, I love Bev. I think Bev is fabulous as a person, and I love the work that she does, and she's a real influencer in the space around menopause and helping women navigate their way through it, especially around their impact on their career. Secondly, I found some of her personal stories and experiences of her menopause quite moving, and actually were very authentic and very real about how it made her feel. And, you know, she left her job because she was experiencing menopause, and some of the symptoms with that she was finding incredibly challenging. And, you know, I found that really sad and actually really, you know, horrible to hear that she'd felt she had no option but to make that decision. But the positive of that is that she's then gone on, and that has pushed her into that space where she now supports women so that they don't feel that that's their only option. I also enjoyed this episode because I not only learned more about Bev's experience, but I also learned more around my own awareness, I think, of menopause and its impact on women and how it can impact careers. And I found that quite astounding. So there was a fact around how many women leave their careers due to the menopause, and it is staggering. I can't remember specifically what the stat is now, but
it's like 900,000. It's near a million.
Near a million women a year leave their careers due to menopause. And I just found that I couldn't get over that when she said, like, when we were talking about it. And so I found it really informative, firstly, and also I just loved talking to her. It was really enjoyable, and I know we had a lot of feedback on that episode as well, and a lot of our CBBs got quite a lot from that conversation too.
Yeah, it was educational. I think I learned a huge amount that I was just not aware of, and I do think that is a consistent issue and challenge for us as females, that we're not re-educated on our bodies as we grow older. So we get so much education about our biology as kids, like as teenagers rather than as kids and young adults, but that's never updated or evolved as you grow older. It's all about what you learn and find out off your own back, and, you know, consequentially because of things that are happening to you. So whether that be around fertility or like perimenopause, menopause, I mean, I just don't think historically there's been enough out there that helps us to learn about what's happening to us. So that episode was brilliant for that reason, for me, which was just getting that awareness and talking about it. And I do think it's been quite the conversation in 2022. I think people have been talking about the menopause a huge amount, and it's been all over the media, and you've got a lot of high profile women really championing the conversation around menopause. So it was an amazing opportunity to be able to talk to Bev about it and learn more and be acquainted with the work she's doing.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you're listening to this and you haven't actually listened to that particular episode, season 4, episode 4, around February time, you'll find it wherever you get your podcasts on YouTube. It's still available now to listen to. It is a really brilliant conversation, so make sure you check it out. Okay, Right, should we go again?
Yes, go again.
In the coaching cast stocking, next up, we've got one of Lisa's, and it is having a good one-to-one. Don't be a dick about the diary. And this was in season 5, episode 2.
Yeah, it's such a good topic. I love this topic. I can wax lyrical about one-to-ones and the importance of them and the quality and how to achieve it, and feedback. I know we talk about feedback quite a lot, but I think it's such a important topic, and it comes up in so many different variations because of how often it features in work at different points and where it's relevant, which I think is all the time. But I think that because it's, for me, it just comes down to having a really good qualitative conversation and a strong relationship with those that you work with. So I think it felt like a really good episode to do, centering it around the one-to-one, because that's so relevant for all of us who are working and working with others, working for others. It's such a key part of being a manager. And I think to get that right, and I know for many, we have to do it. And therefore, sometimes the things that we have to do aren't always the things we enjoy doing.
Yeah, and I think it's something you're not often taught how to do.
No, we're not taught how to do it at all.
You know, you suddenly become a manager, you're leading people, and you think, I've got to have a one-to-one with them. Actually, what is that? What does that involve? How do I do it well? And that's not something you're often taught. So yeah, I can see how that might be a good episode that you've picked there. And we talk about the importance of the diary and not cancelling the one-to-one and then never rearranging it. Like, that is an absolute no-no.
says the person who's clearly had that happen to them. Speaking from experience there, Suze.
Yeah. I think I talked about in that episode the story where my line manager at the time left my one-to-one and never came back.
Yes, you did. That is a classic. I mean, okay, seriously, honestly. So that's definitely not what to do. Don't do that. But
don't do that, CV.
Don't do that, for sure. So yeah, so if you really are interested in that topic, go find that episode. It is a good one.
It is a good one. So yeah, that's season 5, episode 2. Okay, let's have a look then in here. So this is our last present that we've got in our...
Santa wasn't very generous this year.
Coaching cast. Okay. Cost of living crisis. Come on, it's been a tough old year.
I feel like I've been good. I feel like I've been good this year as well. I feel like I'm deserved of more.
Well, this is a great one, actually. And this is our 50th episode we did, featuring and including some of our CBeebies, which we did in season 5, episode 6. So the season we did over just before the summer. Oh, what a lovely episode that was.
It was brilliant. I loved it. It was so great to have an episode featuring our CBeebies. It was brilliant. We had such good fun. And that was a really interesting topic all around being a confident woman at work and what confidence means to us. And obviously having 5 of us females talking about that subject, it was really varied and really interesting, and yeah, just so fun. It was great, not to mention the fact it was our 50th episode, so that was a really cool thing to celebrate.
Yeah, it was a bit of a milestone, wasn't it?
A bit of a milestone, Susie. Understatement. Okay. It was a milestone.
It was a hell of a milestone.
It was great. So no, it was a good episode in respect of the variety, being able to include some of our most loyal CBeebies and the conversation, but also for the topic as well, because confidence, whether you're male or female, I think is such a big topic, and it's so applicable to, I think, all of us at different points in our lives. So it was great to be able to talk about it with their input and get their perspective and experiences on it.
Yeah, so shout out to our CBeebies who got involved. Yes. Emma, Cara and Katie, thank you so much again for helping us with our 50th episode. And if you want to hear that, then again, all these episodes are still available wherever you get your podcasts.
So on each episode of the Coaching Cast, we feature Bullshit Bingo. So for those of you who are listening who are very familiar with the format of the Coaching Cast, you will know this is the feature where we call out phrases that make all of us cringe. usually phrases that get used heavily in the work environment, very heavy in the corporate environment, I would say. So today, obviously being our Christmas special, we could not leave out the bullshit bingo feature. And as it is our festive special, we are going to do our favourite bullshit bingos of 2022. So Suze, start us off. What's been your favourites?
Oh, I mean, I found this really hard to pull together because there's just been too many good ones across the year. But some of my favorites from this year include Capturing Hearts and Minds. So that was from the season back in the new year. So I think that was season 3 or 4. And Capturing Hearts and Minds is an absolute classic, isn't it? It's one of my favorites.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah. So by the way, we don't know what each other have got in terms of our favorites. So this is going to be an insightful and potentially interesting conversation. We may have some of the same ones. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what we've got. But yeah, Capturing Hearts and Minds. I mean, brilliant. Absolute classic.
It's so good. It's so good. Go on then. What else have you got?
Okay. Let's set our stall. So let's set our stall out.
I do love that one. That one has personal meaning to me. So I love Let's Set Our Stall Out as well. That came from someone I used to work with, and they reminded me of it actually, and I was like, oh my god, how could I have forgotten it? Because it just used to get used all the time when we worked together. It is such a good one. I love Let's Set Our Stall.
Yeah, another classic. Actually, there's a theme appearing on my favorite ones. I think they are all classics. I mean, Christmas is about classics, you know, maybe that's where I've come from on this particular feature.
That is very true. Well, I picked one that I just thought was so bizarre and I'd never heard of it before, and it actually did come from my friend who lives in America, so I get a sense it's an American bullshit bingo, maybe more so than a British one, and that was Get This Boat Out of the Dock.
Oh yeah,
which we featured in the International Women's Day special about bias back in season 4. So that was early on in this year. That was in February, March time. But yeah, Get This Boat Out of the Dock. I don't think it's one we use in the UK, but she definitely says that gets used in America. Same with, I think the other one she gave us, and actually I didn't pick it as one of my favourites, was Run It Up the Flagpole.
Oh yeah, and salute it. Run up the flagpole and salute it.
That's it. I didn't do it in full. Yeah, it's just totally random. But my absolute favourite of this year is Drive the Needle Over the Line and We Will Touch Base Next Week, which is the bullshit bingo like collaboration that got put together on the 50th episode, which is the amalgamation of 3 bullshit bingos that our CBBS gave us. It's so good, and it works so well as a sentence. So that's my favourite of 2022.
Oh, absolutely.
Drive the needle over the line and we will touch base next week.
So if you haven't listened to that episode, we've obviously just pulled out of the stocking there as one of our kind of festive presents, one of our highlights for 2022. But we asked each of our CBBS who came onto the episode to bring with them their favourite bullshit bingos. And when, again, organically, when we were talking about it and everybody had kind of brought theirs, it actually made a sentence.
It was so good.
And that is what Lisa's just said there. So say it again.
Drive the needle over the line and we will touch base next week.
Like, amazing. We didn't even orchestrate that. We didn't even organize it to be like that. That's just kind of how it came.
It's how it came together. So amazing. Surely that's got to go at the top of the Christmas tree. That's got to be the star of 2022.
Yeah. So we're going to put then on that very point, we're going to put our top bullshit bingo on our Christmas tree as our star, the shining light of the bullshit bingos
of 2022. I think it has to be that one.
I think it has to be that one as well. And I feel like it's got a festive link there with the whole like pine needle thing.
Oh, tenuous link,
like tenuous link there, but you know, still a link. I'll take it. Yeah, I think definitely we need to put that at the top of the Coaching Cast Christmas tree.
So So we are coming to the end of our very special festive episode, and we really hope that you've enjoyed today as our very last episode of 2022, where we have discussed Christmas party shenanigans, or not, because I refuse to share any of mine. Christmas party shenanigans, the do's and don'ts of the Christmas party. Don't have a Love Island theme, and also some of our favorite parts of this year's Coaching Cast podcast. So we've shared our favorite episodes and our favorite bullshit bingos, and in true Christmas spirit, we have topped our Christmas tree.
We have indeed. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or feedback, we love hearing from you. And you can contact us in 3 ways: on email at hello@thecoachingcast.co.uk, on Instagram at thecoachingcast, and also through our website, thecoachingcast.co.uk. Your support helps more than you know. So if you like what you've heard today and would like to help us grow this podcast and become part of our CBeebies community, please do us a favor, leave us a review on the Apple podcasting app. You have no idea how important these are. Hit subscribe wherever you listen and give us a follow on Instagram at The Coaching Cast. Don't forget, you can also watch each episode on our YouTube channel by searching for The Coaching Cast. And today's episode, that means you can see us dressed up in our festive finery, and mainly with Lisa having a present on her head, and me. I think my red lipstick is actually gone now because I've been drinking water.
No, it's still looking good. It's still looking solid.
Is it?
Yeah,
is it? I'm
you're
thinking it's on
nailing
my
the Christmas
teeth.
lip. No, you're nailing the Christmas
okay.
lip. So yes,
well,
you have to watch today's episode.
You have to watch
Come
today.
On. This one has got so much to fulfill the senses, visually and audibly. So yeah, but as you will all know from listening to this podcast, we love music and we always use it to motivate and energize us. So for every episode of the Coaching Cast, we conclude by sharing our personal song recommendations, just to give you that extra boost of positivity and energy as you launch into your next meeting. To conclude our festive special, we have obviously done what is only the right thing to do, which is to pick our favorite Christmas songs. Mine is Christmas Wrapping by The Waitresses, which I love. I love this song.
Wow, I've not actually heard this song. I need to go and look this up now.
You haven't heard it. You will have heard it. When you will have heard it. It's one of those songs that everyone goes, what the hell's that? But you will have heard it.
Oh, okay.
It's an 80s Christmas classic. As actually all good Christmas songs are, in my opinion.
I know. The 80s produced some brilliant Christmas.
So what have you picked, Suze?
Well, on that note, I changed mine 3 times, by the way. This is my...
I know, but there's too many to choose from.
Too many great ones. But the one I ended up on and I have chosen is Merry Christmas, Everyone by Shakin' Stevens. Can't go wrong.
Amazing. That's a good one. Thank you so much for listening, CBeebies. We are now taking our Christmas break. We will be back, though. Do not panic. We will be back with a brand new season of the Coaching Cast in 2023. So have a great festive season once you get there. And Merry Christmas. Remember, you've got this.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. We'll try and get better at that at some point.
Yeah,
maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just keep it as it is in that weird creepy pattern that we do as we try to get it timed at the same time. But yeah, Merry Christmas, CBeebies.
Merry Christmas.